He remembers heaven as a morning that never ends, a vast cathedral of light where every breath was worship and every silence was full of praise. The air itself seemed to sing, threaded with harmonies that had no beginning and no end. Thrones of light rose like mountains of glass. Rivers of radiance flowed beneath feet that never tired. Around the central glory, the hosts gathered in perpetual adoration, each face lifted, each voice a single, trembling instrument in a choir that held the cosmos together. In that time, the angel speaks with a voice both tender and awed, guiding the listener through memory. The cadence of worship, the ordered procession of duty, the gentle weight of God's presence that made even the brightest seraph bow. There was a harmony so complete that to stand within it was to know a peace beyond all knowing. Among them stood one whose light drew the eye like the sun draws the dawn. Lucifer, the angel, remembers, was called the morning star, not merely for his brilliance but for the trust placed upon him. He bore responsibilities of beauty and order. He guarded thresholds, arranged choirs, and carried honors that others could only witness. The angels looked to him as a leader, a guardian, a being whose countenance seemed carved from the first light. How younger hosts would gather at a distance to watch him move, how his counsel was sought, how his laughter once scattered shadows like dew. He was entrusted with glory, and that trust made his radiance more than ornament. It made him a pillar of the heavenly order. Change came not as thunder but as a slow, almost imperceptible cooling. The angel describes the first small things, a glance that lingered too long on the throne, a smile that did not reach the eyes, a phrase spoken with a tone that carried an edge. Admiration turned to something else, a hunger that hid behind eloquence. The morning star began to measure himself against the throne, to imagine a reflection of himself where only humility had been before. Whispers threaded through the choirs like a chill wind. The angel felt unease like a bruise beneath the skin of heaven, subtle shifts in posture, a tightening of ranks. The way some songs faltered at the edge. Pride is patient, the angel says, and it taught itself to be charming. Where once there had been trust, now there were questions. Where once there had been unity, now there were small, dangerous seeds of dissent. The angel's voice carries heartbreak as he confesses the private terror of watching a beloved leader change. Confusion at the first betrayal of manna, sorrow at the slow erosion of what had been sacred, and fear at the thought that even the brightest could fall. Then came the day the sky itself seemed to hold its breath. The angel recalls the moment Lucifer stepped forward and the air tightened like a drawn bow. Words were spoken that split the worship, not with argument alone, but with a declaration that turned light into accusation. The morning star's voice, once a bomb, became a trumpet of revolt. He named his desire. He set his will against the throne. The loyal host gathered, stunned and grieving. The angel describes the tension as a physical thing, the trembling of wings, the hush that swallowed song, the way heaven itself seemed to shudder. It was not merely a political act but a spiritual rupture, the realization that a beloved leader had become an enemy. The angel's testimony is raw, shock at the betrayal, sorrow for the lost brother, and a deep, aching loyalty to the one they served. The clash that followed was not only of swords and light, but of hearts. The angel does not linger on tactics. Instead, he paints the emotional landscape, the grief of striking down those who once stood beside them, the hollow echo of victory that tasted of ash. Loyalty was a blade that cut both ways. It defended the throne but wounded the soul. He remembers the faces of those who fell, the way their beauty dimmed, and the silence that followed each loss. The angel's voice trembles as he confesses the paradox. To fight for holiness is to mourn the necessity of war. In the midst of conflict, The heavens did not cheer. They wept. The clash of light and darkness was cosmic in scale, but the true battle was inward, the struggle to remain faithful without becoming hard, to uphold justice without losing mercy. When Lucifer was finally defeated, cast out like a star plucked from the sky, the reaction was not triumph, but a solemn, aching quiet. Heaven did not celebrate, it bowed. The angel describes the moment of expulsion as a wound that left the firmament scarred, a reminder that even victory can be mournful when it costs so dearly. In the days that followed, heaven felt different, quieter, heavier, as if a chord had been broken and the music would never quite find its original pitch. The angel walks the reader through the new stillness, the careful tending of grief, the renewed vigilance, the humility that settled like dust on every wing. Free will had revealed its terror and its gift, the capacity to choose love or to turn away, stealing not only honor but the heart's capacity to bow. God's justice, the angel admits, remains a mystery, stern and tender, righteous and merciful in ways the host could not fully see. The tragedy of Lucifer's fall becomes a lesson etched into the memory of heaven, that beauty and responsibility demand humility, that leadership without surrender becomes tyranny, and that obedience is not the absence of thought but the sanctification of desire. The angel's voice grows solemn and urgent as he offers his testimony as warning and counsel. Guard the heart, he implores. Watch the small shifts of gaze and tone that herald greater ruin. Cherish humility as the first and last defense. Hold obedience not as bondage, but as the path to true freedom. In the echo of the morning star's fall, there is a call to vigilance and to love, to serve without seeking the throne, to shine without eclipsing the source of light. This is the heavenly eyewitness account, a story of beauty, betrayal, sorrow, and a faith that endures beyond the tremor of rebellion. Thank you for listening. If this testimony moved you, please like and subscribe for more spiritual narratives and reflections.